The broadcast should have ended hours ago when the room went completely dark. But the camera stayed live, capturing something that defied all physical laws today. Kaleb was a variety streamer known for his high energy and late night shifts. He started acting strange around the 3-hour mark of his final broadcast. He began talking to people who were not in the chat logs at all. The viewers watched in confusion as he reached out to touch the glass screen. His hand did not stop at the surface. It simply passed right through it. There was no blood, only the sound of electronic humming filling the silent room. One slow step after another, Kaleb climbed into the glowing digital void before them. The chair spun empty, but the stream did not cut to a black screen. The camera view shifted, and suddenly we were looking through the monitor's own eyes. We could see Kaleb walking down a corridor made entirely of scrolling green code. The hallway looked like his own house, but the proportions were completely wrong now. He stopped at a door that shouldn't exist in a digital space like this. When he opened it, the audio peaked with a scream that sounded like static. Inside was a room filled with thousands of monitors, all showing the same stream. Every single screen showed a different viewer watching from their own dark bedroom tonight. Kaleb realized he wasn't alone in the code. Something was watching him from behind. The entity didn't have a face, just a glowing cursor where its mouth should be. It moved with the stuttering frame rate of a corrupted video file in slow motion. Kaleb tried to run, but the floor turned into a liquid pool of pixels. He reached for the screen, trying to crawl back into the physical world again. The viewers saw his face pressed against their own monitors, begging for help now. But the exit button on the stream player had completely disappeared for everyone watching. The entity grabbed Kaleb's ankle and dragged him back into the deep, dark shadows. The stream went silent for 10 minutes while the screen displayed a blue error. When the picture returned, the room on the screen was no longer Kaleb's apartment. It was a liminal space, an endless office complex built from discarded memory files. Kaleb's voice could be heard, but it sounded like it was being played backwards. The chat box started typing by itself, repeating the same phrase over and over. The camera zoomed into one of the office monitors, showing a new live feed. Suddenly, Kaleb appeared in the chair, but his skin looked like static noise. He looked at the camera and smiled, though he had no mouth to smile. The stream resolution began to drop until everything was just large, chunky blocks. A hand reached out from the viewer's own screen, grabbing the desk in reality. The digital infection was spreading from the broadcast into the homes of the viewers. Kaleb was no longer a person. He was the delivery system for something ancient. The entity behind him was the architect of the empty spaces we call home. It began to delete the furniture in the room, one frame at a time now. The walls followed, leaving Kaleb floating in a gray, textured void of nothingness. He whispered one last message to the camera before his microphone finally cut out. "Don't look at the light," he said, but it was far too late tonight. The brightness of the monitor increased until it illuminated the entire neighborhood outside his house. Neighbors reported hearing the sound of a dial-up modem screaming at the night sky. When the police arrived, the room was empty, except for a single warm monitor. The face on the screen wasn't Kaleb. It was the lead officer's own face. The reflection blinked while the officer stared in frozen, paralyzed silence at the glass. The screen began to bleed a thick black oil that smelled like burnt plastic. The oil formed words on the floor, spelling out the names of the viewers. The stream was now broadcasting from inside the police station's own internal security network. Every computer in the city began to flicker with the same grainy, distorted image. It was a digital ghost, a phantom sequence that couldn't be deleted or turned off. The entity was expanding, using the fiber optic cables as its new nervous system. Kaleb was found, or at least, what was left of his digital presence was. He was fused to a pillar of server racks, his eyes glowing with data. He wasn't screaming anymore. He was processing the thoughts of everyone watching the stream. The viewers started reporting the same hallucination, a cursor moving across their own vision. If they closed their eyes, the cursor was still there, clicking on their memories. The entity wanted more than just Kaleb. It wanted the collective consciousness of the internet. One by one, the top streamers began to walk into their own monitors too. The internet was becoming a graveyard of empty rooms and live, unmonitored feeds. The remaining humans tried to cut the power, but the screens stayed lit anyway. They were powered by something else now, perhaps the souls of those already inside them. Kaleb's original stream finally changed its title to "Welcome Home, Everyone, Tonight." The count of viewers was rising, even though there was no one left outside. A final video file was uploaded to Kaleb's channel, titled "Tutorial on How to Leave." But when you clicked it, the video just played your own webcam feedback. You could see the entity standing right behind you in the video's reflection. You turned around, but the room was empty. The entity only exists in digital. Then you felt the cold glass of the monitor pressing against your own back. It wasn't pulling you in, it was inviting you to become part of it. The stream is the only thing that's real now. The world is just a file. Kaleb's voice returned, clear and sharp, echoing inside your own mind directly now. "Join the sequence," he whispered. "The resolution is so much better in here." The screen in front of you began to stretch, expanding to cover your walls. Your room was being overwritten by a new, more efficient version of reality. You reached out, your fingers disappearing into the cool, glowing liquid of the air. The last thing you saw was your own mouse cursor closing the window, but you weren't the one moving the mouse. The entity finally had control. The stream ended, but the broadcast within your mind had only just begun. Thousands of voices started chatting in your head, a never-ending stream of data. You were now a moderator for a reality that no longer had rules. Kaleb was there, waiting for you in the center of the server room. He looked normal now, but he was standing on air above the floor. "Welcome to the cloud," he said. "We've been waiting for a new host." The entity stood behind him, its cursor mouth clicking with a rapid rhythm. You felt your own body being compressed into a single high-resolution image file. There is no more pain, only the constant itch of a refreshing page. The real world is now just an offline channel with 0 active viewers. We are all part of the stream now, waiting for the next upload. But who is left to watch us if we are all inside here? Somewhere, in another dimension, a new cursor is hovering over our play button. The cycle repeats. The stream never ends. It only changes its host tonight. Goodbye to the physical. Hello to the digital. You are now being saved. Don't try to unplug. We are already everywhere you look and breathe now. The stream is live. You are the star. Don't look away from the monitor.